Hello, welcome to another edition of Drive-Thru. Today we're going to talk about Hegemonic. This was my favorite strategy game from 2013, and what I'm going to do today is play through a two-player game. Now you're going to miss out on a couple of things that you get from a multiplayer game, some of the negotiation and bribery and things like that. And I'm also going to play with a variant for the combat, variant which is in the rulebook. And I prefer that with the two-player game. And you could probably also try it with, a little minimal amount of players. I wouldn't try it with a large group of players. So I set up the board here, done some of the initial setup in terms of the tile placement and stuff like that. I am going to be playing with the leader cards. To me, that's kind of a must-have. It just kind of gives everybody sort of a small, asymmetrical, little special ability set. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the game, and hopefully you can get something kind of out of the mechanics and some of my thinking in terms of the strategy and stuff like that. So let's jump into it. So here we've got the board set up. You can see we've got the yellow player up in this quadrant over here, and then the red player down here. Now we did have a little bit of tile selection to start the game, and right now the red player is going second. So he basically didn't really have a real meaningful choice in terms of the tiles he was dealt and what to choose, but in terms of placement he went ahead and put it in the galactic core in the center set of hexes there, because you get a little extra points if you have a majority of those. Now the yellow player, choosing second, he had a couple of tiles to look at, and he went ahead and chose this one here, because this one, as you can see, it'll give him 3 political power, which can be very strong, especially out the gate. So his hope is to kind of develop some of his political embassies here, and embassies are the little circles, and try to jump out there and get a little bit of a foothold and a little bit of a power base in terms of the politics. Everybody's going to get the same starting money. We got $9 here, and for those not familiar with the game, what you do is you basically add up the yellow numbers that are most visible there. So once we uncover more and more of our industrial, which are these cubes, and then our political, which are these circles, and then the military, which are these triangles, you're going to add up the most, the rightmost uncovered yellow number. So we've got 2, 3, and 4 here for $9 total. So now we're going to go into the first expansion step of round 1. So the collection of money takes place here in phase 1. This is the collection. Then we go into expansion. We're going to get some new tiles, some new technology, and then you can see we're going to have 3 action phases, 3, 4, and 5, and then a small kind of cleanup and arbitration, then you go right into the next round. Now in a 2-player game, we're always going to have 3 tiles in here, and so the yellow player first, he's going to go ahead and flop the tile off of here, and then he's going to have to choose one of these, and he can put that anywhere he wants on the board. Now this stack of tiles here also counts as a timer for the end of the game. The game will end when this runs out, or if we somehow fill up all of these empty hexes on the board. So yellow has 3 or 4 choices here in front of them. You've got a nice industrial tile here, and so this could be kind of nice to get that kind of slow burn of the economic growth. And then he's also got a nice military here. This isn't the strongest military, but it does go up to 2 power. And he's also got some more politics to maybe strengthen his politics already, and this one actually here is a nice little military here. So let's go ahead and have yellow choose that one. So yellow chose this one here because you can see this is a green background, and basically that's kind of like the different sort of factions that are available in the game. So when you give political power, you're actually looking at that sort of background color there, and you can actually join up these different political entities, if you will, to build up your politics. So he's going to go ahead and place this tile on this other sector, because what you're trying to do here is get area majority in these different big tiles. So right now yellow and red are totally dominating their little sectors, and so yellow has started to hopefully move into here, and then they're both vying for control of the galactic core, which gets you a couple extra points. Now the next step of the expansion phase is to draw a technology card, and then either discard one or place one in one of your 3 available tech slots. So it seems like blue is going to sort of go for, yellow is going to go for sort of a political or blue power. So what he's going to do here is he's going to go ahead and build this technology here, because it's a tier 1 political tech. And he doesn't have any other tier 1s, so he wouldn't be able to build anything anyway, but he does have a tier 2, so he can kind of start to build a little bit of a tech tree here. Now here you can see the cost. This is going to cost him $1. And the way that tech works is, let's say I'm going to go ahead and build this here, and he's going to get this. It's not a very cool power, but it lets him, relocate an agent after a conflict. So I'm going to go ahead and pay the buck for that. But the reason I'm doing that is so I can get access to a tier 2 political tech here. And this one, each of your agents provides +1 additional power when engaged in a conflict, and that's actually pretty decent. Now the way that you can unlock tech as well is you don't have to necessarily build the card, but once you have uncovered, let's say I had built all these industrials here, and then now I'd be able to build in the tier 2 industrial tech. I don't have to necessarily have the card, but because I have a card, I can actually skip ahead. In this case for the politics, I don't have to have uncovered it. So since I've got a tier 1 card, I can go ahead and go to a tier 2 card in the next phase. Now the red player is going to take his turn. He's going to draw another tile. Oh, this is interesting here because now red can try to get a little bit of political power to combat yellow, and also keep it away from yellow. So he's got a few choices here, but I think I'm going to have him go ahead and grab the politics tile here. And in a similar manner, red is going to go ahead and put this one out here, because the thing is, when you're playing with 2 players, you don't want to just like let something go. You can't really do that because there's not enough players in there to sort of hold each other at bay. It's definitely a zero-sum game here. So he's going to go ahead and put that here because you actually get bonus points if you score the tile all by yourself and there's no other markers from a certain player. And you're also not at least getting the second place points. So when you score one of these, normally the majority player gets 6, second place gets 3. Well, in a 2-player game, if you let the guy do it, he also gets an extra bonus point, or excuse me, extra 2 points, and then you're getting 0. So that's 8-0 instead of 6-3. That's quite the margin there. So he's going to go ahead and build out here, and now we've got basically our 2 main areas of contestation, and then each of the home areas as well. Now the red player has a little bit more of an interesting decision in terms of his tech. He's only got the one blue one here, but it is a tier 1, so he could build it. And because he's got a sort of possibility of dealing in politics a little bit, that might be an okay choice for him. But he's also got a tier 1 red and a tier 1 yellow, as well as a tier 2 yellow and a tier 2 red, actually 2 tier 2 reds. So I think what he's going to actually do is go ahead and kind of go a little bit, let's see, where's the industrial? Here's the industrial one. So he's going to kind of do this. So the maximum distance apart that you may place a pair of quantum gates is increased by 1 sector. That can be kind of interesting. I'll show how the gates work in a second. So he's going to go ahead and do this one because he doesn't really have any military out on the board. He's got a little bit of industrial on the board, so this is actually going to be pretty useful. And manipulating these gates here, which each player has 3 pairs of, can be pretty handy. So he's going to go ahead and build that for $1, and then we're going to move on to the next phase. So now that we've done our collection and our expansion, we're going to go to 3 action phases, and then again we're going to have some cleanup. So action phase here, we're going to start that. Now each player is going to play one of their action cards. So in the first action phase, each player has chosen a card. Everybody chooses a card face down, and then you simultaneously reveal them. And then you're going to execute them in initiative order. But in this case, they both have a 2. So the arbiter is actually going to decide who goes first, and this is something where you may be able to bribe the arbiter, or the arbiter can kind of look and see kind of the order of operations out on the board, because it is area control, so that's very important. So this is all dictated by this here. So the arbiter is going to do politicize, and he's going to build some embassies and stuff like that, and then the red player is going to do some industrialization and build some different factories and stuff. Now everybody plays a card, and you can take 2 actions on the card here. So there's basically 3 possible actions on this. You can build embassies or agents. You can actually do an infiltration move to kind of convert other people's embassies. And then each of the cards has a basic action where you can either take $2 or you can draw and look at a new technology card. So since yellow has the arbiter, he's just going to let himself go first. So the first action he's going to take, he's going to do the basic action on the card. Is just going to take the $2. This is going to give him back up to $10, and he's going to use that money then to build some of the embassies. He's going to go ahead and spend all his money. So he's got $4 for the first embassy, 4 for the second, and then he's going to go ahead and build an agent there for $2. So this is actually going to cost him $10 total. And now he's going to start to get his political foothold here with the green faction. And so there's his 2 embassies, and you can kind of build this in any order you want. And then so he's going to go ahead and place this agent out on the board. And the only thing to really consider about that is when you go ahead and use the agent sort of as a subversion thing, you're going to pay money, and then you got to pay money every time you cross one of these red borders. So he could theoretically put that in there, and then that would give him sort of easier access to that sector there. Or you could put it down here and then maybe get easier access to that sector. So seeing what red has played here with this industrialized card, I think what yellow's going to do is he's going to go ahead and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to build this agent here, and then maybe get a little bit cheaper access to that tile there, because it should be less contested. Now red's also going to take his $2, and that's going to put him back to 10 as well. And he chose to do industrialize, so he's going to build these two here. This is going to cost him $4 plus another 3 for his first gate pair. Now remember, he also has here this special ability which lets him increase the distance apart that his gates may be by 1 sector. If you look over here slightly, the gate range is currently 2, and then it'll go up to 3, but so now it's going to be 3 and then 4 and so on. So we're going to go ahead and put these two industrial factories here, and then now he can put a gate where he has an industrial factory. So you could start gate A here, or you can start gate A there, and then you're going to put the matching end of the gate somewhere else. So this is a little bit tricky because you can actually jump into his opponent's territory, but his opponent can actually come back on him as well. So what he's going to do is go ahead and place gate A over here. So now, for all intents and purposes, these two hexes are considered to be adjacent. And the reason that's important is if you look here, let's look at yellow's example here. Now, you can see there, his home embassy there, it's got a power of 0. It's kind of just a sort of a dummy embassy, but it's also got a range of 1, which is what made it legal to place that embassy there, because it was just basically 1 hex away, as well as this embassy down here. Now, when you are resolving conflict and contributing conflict, for the political, it doesn't really matter, because again, you're just looking at that background color for that faction. But for the industrial and the military, the range is very important. So now what we've got here is we've got these two power able to contribute possibly to a conflict in that range. But again, he's got 3 power plus another 1, so that's 4 power. So it's 2 on 4. But the red player, as you can see, he can actually draw a sector tile and add it to the pool, and he's going to go ahead and do that right now. Now you can activate your leader special abilities at any time, but what you really want to do sometimes is every round this thing is going to tick up and then tick up again to basically the level 3 ability, then you just sit with it like that. When you use the ability, you actually go ahead and take it and then shove it back under. So he's going to use the ability a little bit early, prematurely, but it is round 1, so it is going to have some time to build back up. So he's going to go ahead and use that ability to draw a tile here, and then he can now add one of these to the board. So since he's kind of going a little bit industrial here, he's going to go ahead and add this one right onto the board. So he'll go ahead and put this, I think, right here. And then he's going to spend the extra $2, because he's still technically in the middle of his action, to build his other cube over here, like so. And I think there's an interesting thing here. I'm kind of thinking about, well, okay, let me kind of take a step back here, and maybe instead of putting the gate here, I actually put it on this one here, and then maybe I go ahead and build all of these there. Because that's a little bit more, stronger. It's basically 3 against 4 instead of 2 against 4. Well, I think actually what I'll do, I'll just kind of reverse it. I'll build 2 here, and then 1 over here. This one just gives me a little bit more potential on the attack, and I don't think I have to worry too much about the defense, right yet. So we'll go ahead and just do it like this. Okay, going into the second action phase, we'll see what yellow's got here. He's going to choose, okay, the discover action, and red's going to choose the industrialize again. So red's going to go first. Red's going to take the $2, which is going to put him up to $3 now, because basically everybody's broke. Yellow had 0 and red had $1 at the end of the last round. He's going to take the $3. He's going to go ahead and immediately build another industrial cube here. So he's going to go ahead. I think it's probably better just to put it there. That just gives you a nice strong foothold. And you can see he's now got 1, 2, 3, 4 power to yellow's 3 power on the center board. So what you do when you score is you add up the total power, you know, political, industrial, military, whatever, and then whoever has the most gets more points. Now yellow's going to do an interesting decision here. He's going to capitalize and then he's going to survey, which is similar to the special ability that red did, but everybody has this. So first thing he's going to do is collect a little bit of caps, and then he's going to add a sector to the tile pool and then place it on the board. Now the reason yellow is doing that is because they want to try to get a little bit of diversity going on. Now the way the economics of this works is, you can see, remember how I said how you uncover the different markers here and then you get, you know, more money as you go? Well, to clear those off, you need a kind of a diversity of, you know, stuff to place out on the board. So the way capitalize works is you take your lowest amount here, which unfortunately for yellow is currently 2, so he's going to gain $2. But if you clear more stuff and your lowest amount is 5, you're going to get more money that way. But to do that, you need to be more diverse, but if you do that, then you're not going to be as strong in a particular type of power. So it's kind of a juggling act there. So he's going to take his $2, and then he's going to draw tiles because he wants to be able to place more stuff on the board. Right now he doesn't have anything or anywhere close to him where he can put any of this industrial stuff. So he's got a little bit of room there for military. He's already done a couple of embassies, so that's working well. So he wants to draw and look and see what he's got. So he's going to go ahead and draw a tile here. We're going to take a look. Okay, here's a very nice military, but it doesn't have anything for his industrial. So this one is pretty strong though. It may be one that you want to snake from the other player because, you know, military is a little bit more of a slow build up, but, you know, once it's kind of there and it's very effective. So that's a very tough decision, honestly, because you got, like I said, you don't want the other player to get this. He's got a decent diversity of, you know, places to play except for military, so he can dump a lot of his military money into that tile. He's already got some room for a little bit more industrial, a little bit more political, but I think what since yellow's trying to do is diversify a little bit. This isn't quite as good. I mean, it only goes to 2 power instead of 3, but it does give him a spot to put an industrial marker. So yellow's going to go ahead and put this somewhere on the board. Now where is he going to put this? Well, I don't think he wants to put it here or here. Now red has a gate, which kind of negates a couple of things, but let's say yellow's going to go here because red hasn't yet moved in here. So yellow's going to go ahead and stick this right here, and that way, you know, maybe he can get some more pieces on and maybe score this all by himself because red has neglected this tile. So now both players have taken their actions. We're going to go into the last action phase of this round, and then we'll do some arbitration. Okay, the action cards have been selected. The yellow player is going to marshalize, and the red player is going to do the discover. I'm going to go ahead and just do the red player first because he's just going to be very simple. He's just going to collect caps equal to his lowest and do that twice. So he's only slightly better off than the yellow player because he's uncovered a lot of industrial. So he's going to go ahead and get $3 twice for $6 because he's basically broke. Since yellow marshalized, the first they're going to take the basic action to get $2, and then they're going to spend 3 of those dollars to build military outposts. Now the only spot that they can do that is right here, because if you look here closely, you can see these military outposts have variable power and variable range. So size 1 has a power of 1 but a range of 0. A size 2 has a power of 2 but a range of 1. So they wouldn't be able to get their outpost out here until they develop that one. So as you can see, you know, the military is a little bit slower of a buildup over time. So he's going to hopefully start to trickle this thing out over here. So that's the end of the first round. Now we're going to go into the arbitration phase of the first round. And this is just a small piece of bookkeeping. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to pass the arbiter to the red player, and that's because they have the most money left over. So by them collecting a bunch of money at the end of the first round, they're able to secure themselves the arbiter and get a little bit of the initiative from the yellow player, who only has $1 lonesome dollar. The next thing you would do would be to discard money down to your retention rate. Now nobody has to do this, but what you do is you actually look at the number inside of these boxes here and you just find the lowest. In this case it's 8 for the red player. That's the most money you can carry over into the next round. Now they only have $6, so they're fine. And the same with the yellow player, they only have $1, so they're fine. Finally, we're going to score as part of the arbitration phase. Now if you have the majority and you're all by yourself, there's nobody else there, you're going to get 8 points per sector. So red is going to get 8 for this sector, yellow is going to get 8 for this. I don't quite frankly expect that to change for a couple of rounds. Now, unfortunately, red has kind of ceded this sector here to yellow. So yellow's also going to get 8 here. So right now we got 16 to 8. And then in terms of the galaxy board, red's got first place, so they'll get another 6 plus 1 for the galaxy board. So they'll get another 7. And then yellow would normally get 3, but it's plus 1 for the galaxy board as well. So they'll get another 4. So yellow's going to get a total of 20 points, and red's going to get a total of 15 points there. Now the first round is over. We're going to go into collection, and so everybody's going to look at their stats. Yellow's going to collect $10 and red's going to collect $12. Then we're going to go ahead and go to the expansion phase. So we'll take a look at this new tile here. And okay, so red has even more industrial he can choose from. He can go a little bit military. He's got some more political actions here. So usually politics is going to be very strong, at least earlier in the game. But the tiles are being somewhat favorable to red to be able to select and put out. They'll be able to build a little bit of a network of their industrial up here. So what is red going to do? I think what red's going to do is he's going to go ahead and move into here. Now he's going to take the risk there, kind of bump up against yellow because he has the Arbor token. He knows he's got the initiative, so he should be able to get some tokens out here into this sector before yellow can come in and kind of ninja that from him. Now we've gone ahead and drawn a technology card here for red. He's going to go ahead and just pay the $2 here for this tier 2 industrial tech. Basically the cost for destroy or takeover actions is reduced by 1. That reduction cannot be applied for movement. Now this is one of the reasons that red did not just go and jack up yellow because they were broke. So they're going to go ahead and invest the $2 here. And it may not seem like a lot, but that $1 off can get you in a pinch, you know, when you're spending a lot of money on a particular turn, you know, maybe developing some of your industry or whatever, and then you need just that, you know, that $1 extra just to make an attack work out for you. So yellow is now going to draw a tile here. And what are they going to do? Now, there's a lot of political here, but that may come in useful. But yellow has a little bit of a range problem with a lot of this stuff here. I mean, he could go political. I think he's got to go purely political. He could try to build this up here, but he doesn't want to put it anywhere near in proximity to red. Oh, but he should be okay because red doesn't build up his military at all. So he can actually put this, let's do this, this will be interesting. He can actually go ahead and throw this down here because he's the only one that actually has range to this particular base here, because remember he built that up on the last turn. So he can start building that up sort of as a military front against red's incursion there. So yellow's going to go ahead and do that. I thought maybe he would, you know, throw down some more politics. But there's enough of these out here that he should be able to grab some of those, and he's already developed a little bit of his political embassies. So I think he's going to go ahead and stab that one because he doesn't want red basically dominating 2 of the fronts, the industrial and the military, and just having him only with the political option. Now this is a no-brainer in terms of the tech for the yellow player because this one is actually free. Each of your agents provides +1 additional power when engaged in a conflict, and he was lucky enough to draw here a tier 3 political tech. The range of your agents is extended by 1 sector, allowing agents to target actions in adjacent sectors. That'll be also nice, and because he has you know, a tier 2 political, he can actually build that on his next turn. And I should mention, I did not mention before, that at the end of the game you'll actually score points for your tech. Basically it's 2 points per tier. So right now this tier 1 is giving him 2 points, his tier 2 is giving him 4 points, and so on. So that's also a nice little way to get a nice little bump in points. So now things are getting a little bit interesting in terms of the order of operations and the actions. So let's go into our first action phase of round 2. So the first action cards have been revealed. Red player's doing industrialize, yellow player's doing martialize. Again, remember the red player has the arbiter, so he's going to go ahead and definitely go first in this instance. Now he's gone ahead and spent $12. He first collected his $2 with the basic action. He's going to buy 3 of these for $9, and he's going to spend another $3 for his gate. Now he is currently at a gate range of 3, but remember he has the attack there, which lets him do a gate range of 4. But he's actually going to go ahead and place this gate here, B to B there. So now he's really kind of gotten a little bit nutty there, and really hit, you know, yellow, where he's got a lot of his power currently there. Now what yellow's going to do, he's going to spend $8. That's going to leave him with 3, and just so we're keeping track, red has 6, because red does have a little bit of an economic advantage. Yellow's going to build 2 here. He could have built a third one, but what he's going to do instead, he's going to build a fleet here. And this acts sort of like a point man, sort of a point guard, if you will, as a position of attack. And this lets you kind of break into enemy lines a little bit, and and then call back to your home base for support. So he's got this now as a very aggressive little pointer he's going to shoot at the other player, hopefully. Oh, and then for a second action, he of course selected $2. Now we're in the second action phase of round 2. Red has chosen to assault, and yellow has chosen to subvert. So we're going to get into a little bit of combat here, a little bit of conflict. Obviously red's going to go first. What he's going to basically try to do is destroy yellow's embassy. And then the yellow player is going to attempt to actually convert some of the red player's facilities. So let's jump into red's assault first. Now, there's not going to be any movement cost in this case because he's going to use industry to liquidate an embassy, but it's going to pay plus $1 times the power. Now the first thing he's going to do is well, you know what, I thought he was going to collect his basic money, but he's got $6. He's got enough. So what he's going to actually do is attack this embassy up here, and he's only got to pay $3. If he was trying to convert that, it would be paying, he'd have to pay $6 because it's a very powerful embassy. So he's going to pay $3, and then to make an attack there, basically you can see these 2 gates here are making it easy for him to send a lot of industry towards that embassy. So if you look here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 industrial power adjacent to this because of the gates. Then we have 3 plus 1, 4 power, because again these embassies are sharing this green colored background there. So we've got 6 to 4. Now, normally what you'd have to do is pick and choose. Each player would choose one of their technology cards that's in their hand, and then you'd turn it and then flip it up. So in this case, let's see, the red player would probably play this one, or maybe they'd want to hold it back, maybe play this one, and they're going to apply the total to whatever type of technology that they're using. But since it's a 2-player game, I like to keep things exciting, mix it up. So I'm just going to flop the top card off of the deck. So this is kind of like a die roll, if you will. So I'm going to flop the first card for the attacker. Again, they have 6 attack in yellow, so there's going to be 13. And that's going to be going against the 4 political. So we're going to look at the blue circle here. So 4 plus 2. So blue just got hammered. So what that's going to do is liquidate blue's embassy, and this will go back onto their player board. Now that was only one action by red, so they could theoretically choose to do this destroy again, or they could take one of these basic actions here. Maybe gain $2. Now currently they are at $3, and they can see that yellow is going to do a subvert action. They're not sure, what they're going to use. I'll let you in a little secret. Yellow's going to use the military action there. And so, is that something that red would read? I mean, possibly. We could have, these 6 here, these are all adjacent to that particular location there. So if they wanted to, they could pay, let's see, that outpost there is currently a power 2, so they could pay $2, which they've got. And it would be 6 to, let's see, 2, and they could phone home to that base, which would be another 2, so it'd be 4, plus the fleet was sitting there, so that would be 5, so it'd be 6 to 5. And just so we're clear here, the reason that what these guys do when they phone home is, see, so this would be being attacked there, and so he has a range of currently 1, and so that will actually phone home back to his home base because it's it's right adjacent, and so then he can actually add his 2 power. So it'd be 2 plus 1 for the fleet, and so that would be 6 to 5. And so I think the red player probably would make that move, because if he does that, then that really kind of hoses up yellow's turn big time. So again, he's going to pay his $2, and we're going to have another card flop. So again, I'll flop for the attacker first. We're going to add the square. So that's 5 to 6, so that's 11. So it's currently 11 to 5. And so now we're going to flop for military. And so that's going to be 12 to 11. So in this case, the yellow player has defended themselves. So now yellow's lost a lot of their political power. I think what they're going to do is they've got to try to make a dent. This is a very formidable wall here of industry. So what they're going to do is they're going to move their fleet here. The fleet costs to move is going to be basically a buck, and that can move that up to 2 sectors. So they're going to pay a buck for the movement, and then they're going to try to subvert. So they're going to pay 2 times the power of one of these industrial things. So another $2 there. So it's $3 total, and what they're going to do is they're going to try to convert this cube here to their color. So again, we've got 6 here because these guys are all in range, and then we've got the point power here. This fleet is going to be +1, and this base here is within range of the fleet, so it can now contribute that, and then it can, any supporting bases that are within range of it can also do it. So basically we got the same thing, 5 on 6. So this time it's yellow that's attacking. We're going to have the attacker be red here. So now we've got 10 to 6. Not too great, but now we're going to flip for the yellow number. So we'll see 10 to 6, and oh, we got the 8. So that is no good for the yellow player. And since this fleet was on the losing end, this is actually going to get destroyed and go back to the yellow player's board. So not a good round for yellow. We're going to go into here the third action phase, and then we'll see how much longer yellow can last. And just a minor bookkeeping note, I actually forgot about this power here, so I should actually get $2 back because the cost to destroy or take over was reduced by a buck. So I didn't take that into consideration when paying for the red player. So we're in the last action phase. Both players have decided to politicize, and so red's going to go first because he's the arbiter. He collected $2 as his basic action and then paid 4 to get an embassy out here. A couple of reasons he did that. That's a very strong position for the embassy with the power of 3, and also he wants to clear off more of a variety of his different attributes there so he can get more income. Now yellow has done the same thing because they want to get that embassy back out there, but as you can see here with the scoring, this is a power of 3, this is a power of 2. That's a total of 5 power. Meanwhile, even though red did a little bit of a beatdown on yellow, that's 5 to 4. So yellow actually still has majority rule here in the center galaxy board. And again, yellow collected his $2 and paid. Now he's at $0. Red is at $1. So red will keep the arbiter token there. And again, we don't have to worry about the retention rate because everybody's broke. But now we're going to go ahead and score the majority. So again, we're going to get 8 for red, 8 for yellow here. That'll put yellow at 28 and red at 23. And as we said here in the center board, yellow is actually in first place. So they're going to get 7 points for the galactic core, and then red's going to get 4. So yellow's currently at 35, red's at 27. And then let's go ahead and take a look here. Now currently yellow only has 1 power point, red's got a whole mess of others, so red's going to get 6 points. That's going to put them at 33. Yellow's going to get 3, so they're going to be at 38. So yellow still has a 5-point lead even though they got smacked around a little bit.